Hey everybody, it's Peter and this is the Honda NX500. This happens to be a 2024 model. It's actually the bike I've already reviewed in the past that I said I would be most likely to recommend this bike in this class. It's just the easiest one to recommend. So that video is the full review of this bike. But context has changed because since I reviewed that bike, I bought a Royal Enfield, and people are saying to me, why did you buy the Royal Enfield over something like this? And I gave some of my reasons, but I want to highlight this bike again because this also highlights exactly how I feel when people say, which bike would you buy? Well, the one I buy isn't the one that you should buy, and the one your friends tell you you should buy isn't the one that you should buy. You should buy the bike that's right for you. And this is still the easiest to recommend adventure bike. And I want to be clear about why I like this as far as recommending it and why I think it's a more versatile bike, or at least has a broader appeal than the one that I bought. So I can do that because I'm filming here at Riverview Honda. Riverview Honda gives me complete access to their entire vehicle lineup. Anytime I want, I come down, review their motorcycles, review their cars, review their ATVs, side-by-sides, whatever they want. And of course, this year I'm trying to review as many 2025 motorcycles as I can. And if you're interested in this class, the Honda Transalp for 2025 will be here soon. I'm gonna review the CB500 properly today as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming up just from Honda and every other brand. So if that sounds like a good thing for you, make sure you hit subscribe, leave a positive comment, leave a like, and if you want to really help my channel grow, best thing you can do is find a couple videos you like, just watch them to the end. That really helps me out. All right, let's get going with why I still think this is the easiest to recommend adventure bike, small adventure bike in the class. So right after I did a full review on this bike, I posted a poll on my Facebook, on my YouTube, and I asked you, out of the bikes, the adventure bikes that I had looked at so far that year, which one would you recommend? And that was the Royal Enfield that I ended up buying. It was the Versus 300 or Versus X300, and this won the poll. This is what most of you thought would be the bike that you would buy if you could choose them. Now I've since reviewed the BMW 310, which again is not something I would recommend over this, but is a very good bike for a specific skill set. And that's what I try to do in these videos, is try to help you decide if this bike or that bike is right for you. So why do I think this bike is best for a wider variety of people? Well, let's start at the front wheel. We'll go our way through. So taking a look here at the front wheel of this Honda NX500, you start to see what I see, and that is a bike that is probably a little bit more versatile and less focused. And what I mean is it's gonna provide the right mix to do a little bit of everything, as opposed to something that gets focused. If something gets focused, it can be really good at one thing. Like a race bike is really good on the track, but not great around town. A scooter is great around town, but not great at off-road. So there's a mix of all kinds of things that you want. And I feel like this hits the right mix. I feel like somebody looking for a low displacement adventure bike is probably somebody who wants something that's really versatile, something that's going to be great in town, fine on the highway, something that's going to be capable off-road, but not something you're going to be jumping with. If you want to jump, there's better bikes to do that than this one, even within the Honda lineup. So what do you have here is you have a 19-inch front wheel. Now, true off-roaders, they have a 21-inch front wheel, and true on-road bikes have a 17-inch front wheel. So this splits the difference. What that means, it's going to give you a little bit sportier handling than the typical off-road bike, but it's also going to give you a little bit of larger diameter for some off-road adventure. So on-road, off-road, I think I said that right, but you're getting what I'm saying. Bigger diameter is going to give you great off-road, that's a B. But a smaller diameter is going to give you that better handling. So this splits the difference, giving you a good handling bike, and it also gives you something that's capable of the type of off-roading that I think you're going to do on this bike, which is, to be fair, the type of off-roading that I want to do. This is an exploring kind of bike, and you can kind of see that. So you've got the upside-down forks, non-adjustable, that's pretty class typical. Bigger wheel and tire, a little bit of off-road tread here, but not crazy off-road tread, so fine for the gravel roads, dirt roads, that kind of thing. You also have dual disc brakes up front. That is something you do not see very much in the class. It's going to give you better braking performance. Of course, it's ABS front and rear, but the dual discs is pretty rare on this. You tend to see that more on street bikes than dirt bikes in this class, and I think that's a good thing. I think as you're going faster and you're learning to ride, or even as you're returning to ride, if you want to ride a little sportier, you've got a little extra braking power, than some of the other bikes just because of the dual disc. Now I can't say for sure it's more braking power, but I will say dual discs are what you find on sport bikes, that's what you find on a lot of other bikes. These bikes, when it used to be the CB500X, used to have a single disc. It now has dual discs, so they've upgraded that because I think they understand as well, this isn't just about off-road, it's something where people are going to be going higher speeds, having to get down from higher speeds in a hurry, and that gives you better braking. So that is something that's easy to recommend. Let's move our way through to the engine. So the Royal Enfield bike that I bought is a single cylinder. This is a twin cylinder. I have less cc, less engine capacity. This is a larger engine. This is a 471 compared to my 452. This thing is also known for its incredible reliability, and that is something that makes every Honda super, super easy to recommend. Not only is this engine in this bike, it's been around for a while, it's been tweaked here and there, but it's also in a lot of other bikes. I'm going to review the CB500 soon. It's in the Scrambler version of this bike. It's in the sport bike version of this bike, the standard bike. So this engine is everywhere, and in everything it's reliable. It is dead easy to recommend this engine to people because you know it's going to be reliable, you know it's going to be fuel efficient, and I can't say that with my Royal Enfield. It's a new engine, it's only been put in one bike so far, and you know, you can't say for sure. So as far as recommendations, the other thing is this twin cylinders tend to be a better highway bike. So this is going to be fully capable on the highway. Not that the Royal Enfield isn't, but it does make a little bit more horsepower, and that twin cylinder is going to be a little bit smoother. So this is what I would call a really good road engine. But again, if you're just using it as an exploring bike to go down gravel roads and dirt roads, this is perfectly suited to that. You still have a 6-speed transmission, so you can make use of that power. And it's not a crazy high revving engine where it's real peaky up top or something like that, like some of these smaller bikes that they try to, you know, make them peaky up top. This has got a real balance of power, which again, makes it easy to recommend. With any adventure bike, you have to talk about seating position. So whether you're comparing this to, you know, an on-road bike, an off-road bike, whatever you want, you do have a nice upright seating position, which I really like. I'm about 6 feet tall, just for reference there. So, you know, good seating position, good area here. You do also have the ability to reach the ground. Now, I'm trying to flat foot it, but I'm on an angle this way, so if I flat foot too much, the bike's gonna lean that much, but I can flat foot here as a, you know, proportional 6-footer. It's very easy to reach the ground, and it is difficult to get a bike that has enough suspension travel, enough ground clearance to be an adventure bike and reach the ground. Now, my Royal Enfield also does that. It's very similar to this. This one is about the same weight, 432 pounds, but this one feels lighter for sure, like much, much lighter. And part of that's because my Royal Enfield has extra cages up here, you know, body protection, that kind of thing. This, as it sits, definitely feels lighter. The weight is lower, it's easy to move around, and you have a taller wind protection from the factory here that's also a little bit wider, and there's a lot of Honda parts out here, especially in North America. I know that Royal Enfield has parts everywhere, but in North America you can get parts aftermarket for this everywhere. You can put a GPS up here if you wanted to, you've got the digital screen there, you've got the ability to put a 12-volt or USB socket in here to keep your phone on the dash if you want, and that's kind of one of the things with this bike, is you can really sort of customize this up very easily into the way you want. But seating position is important, it's comfortable, and that's what it is. Now, you'll also notice there's more of a sporty, sleek look to this than on some other bikes, especially the bike that I bought. Personally, I kind of like the look of this, but if you want to get protection, you want to make this more off-road, you can do that. Let's talk about some of the accessories that you can get with this bike right from Honda. So I mentioned crash protection. That is something that's available from Honda. It gives you some bars up around here, so if you're ever to drop it, you could handle that instead of hitting these plastics. You can also get different windshields. I'm not sure about the different windshield from Honda. You can also get some underbody protection there, which can protect everything like your oil filter and all that down there. So you can start equipping this up as you go. Now I'm gonna move my single shot. We're gonna stay on the camera here. We're gonna come over back here because this is an area that looks a lot like a modern sport bike, and that's okay. That's part of what keeps this light, that's part of what keeps the weight forward, that's part of what makes it feel so much more like a sport bike than a true adventure bike or something like that that tends to be a little heavier. You do have rails down here that have little tie downs here, so you do have those rails there, a little hard to see on that camera angle, but you can also add accessory luggage, whether it's hard or soft luggage. You can add the rails that will hold that on there. You can add a top box on there, and then of course driver convenience, right? All of this stuff, including heated grips. You can get shields in front of your hand guards, or hand protectors in front of your handlebars there. So all of that is available from Honda, and that matters. Let's talk about why. One thing to keep in mind when you're buying a new bike is aftermarket accessories, unless they're available from your particular dealer, can't be financed. If you add the Honda accessories on this, you can finance them with the bike, which means you don't have to wait and save up extra for those pieces. You can put them as part of your monthly payment. It's only a few dollars extra to get it equipped the way you want, and you can always add those accessories down the road. But if you buy them with the bike, you can finance them with the bike, and what that means is that you can equip this the way you want it. So, why is this still the easiest bike to recommend? Well, if you're a new rider, let's just start there. If you're a new rider, this is going to give you all the sporty bike that you need. It's designed with that low center of gravity. It's designed with that engine that is in the sport bike from Honda in the same class. So you have something that's going to give you the same basic experience. There's a chance that the rear sprocket or the front sprocket is just a tooth or so different between some of these bikes. That's what Honda does. But at the end of the day, you can get all the sport riding, and you can corner as fast as your friend on the CB or CBR 500 as well. So you have that sort of sporty bike kind of feel. If you want something that's upright and can go longer distances, and you can strap a duffel bag or even actually put some proper luggage on this, you also get that in this bike. It makes it easy to recommend. The light feeling, the overall reliability, the variety of options to make it anything you want, and that twin cylinder engine that is really known for its efficiency, really known for its durability, and also really known as its ability to sort of cover everything you need, still makes this the best bike or easiest bike to recommend to the widest variety. So why did I go with the Royal Enfield? I want to try something different. And you know what? If this bike doesn't speak to your heart, then you should try something different as well. But from a purely practical point of view, if you're a returning rider, you may be a different rider in your 50s than you were in your teens or 20s. And again, this bike can be just about anything that you want it to be. Even if it's a temporary bike, if you only have it for a few years, you're gonna figure out what kind of riding you wanna do. And if you wanna be more sport riding country roads, no problem, you can do that. If you wanna go a little more off-road, this bike will still take you off-road. Switch the tires up to something even more aggressive, it'll still take you a lot further than you want. You're gonna have to equip it with some extra pieces here and there, but it can do the job. And that's why this bike is still the easiest to recommend. So finally, as we finish up, I want to be clear. A lot of people say when they ask me about a bike, which bike would you buy? And that does not matter which bike I would buy. What matters is you find the bike that's right for you. So if you want a bike that's truly versatile, this is a bike that I highly recommend. Would I not recommend the bike I bought? No, I would recommend that as well, but this is going to be the easiest bike to recommend to the widest amount of people, and that's kind of how I had it on my first video. So if you haven't seen my first video, you make sure you check that one out. I'll probably drop a link to that in the description. And of course, if you want to see this bike, it's still sitting here. It's a 2024, so it's a really good deal right now, and it's sitting here at Riverview Honda. I want to give them a shout out for allowing me to do these reviews. So thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.